hype's building, the tension's building. This is your grand final to decide the champion.
Still in there. Tournament point. EXP back kick. Oh, jab, jab.
The best Street Fighter V player in the world.
Welcome to the World Warriors of Capcom Cup. My name is Ultra David.
And I am James Chen. How's everybody going?
Let's continue talking about Capcom Cup. We've talked about a little bit of an intro. We've talked about all of the players involved.
That's right.
Now let's get to the predictions for what's going to happen at Capcom Cup, which is going to take place Friday through Sunday, December 8th through 10th at the Anaheim Hilton, and then at the PlayStation Experience.
That's right. We've already gone through all the information, but now this is the meat.
Yes.
Let's talk about who is going to win Capcom Cup. Because that's what this is about. This is, as much as we admire all 32 of these players, 31 of them are going home disappointed. So.
You are right. Now, talk about the tournament a little bit before we do that.
Sure.
This is, of course, a double elimination bracket, so you can lose a match and then still survive and ultimately win if you can win out. It's a longer road if it happens for you, but that's possible. It's a 3 out of 5 match thing the whole way. So 3 games out of 5 per match.
Right. And you can only change characters if you lose one of those. So there's where the significance comes in, where 3 games, of course, gives you the opportunity to try alternate characters without having to, commit to it right away, and et cetera, et cetera.
And, that was standard for top 8s at tournaments all over. So that makes sense. I'm glad that they're doing that. The prize is going to be $370,000 for a total prize pool. There were $250,000 in the base prize pool, but then $120,000 extra added from community support through DLC.
DLC, yes, the Capcom Cup pack, yes.
That's very cool. Very happy to see that.
A lot of money for these guys.
I think that's super cool, man.
No, yeah.
Now, last year, just a little bit about the format. Last year, remember, the first day was all in one day. It was at a venue that was not next to the hotel.
It was one stream.
So it took quite a while, and players didn't really get much of a chance to rest.
They had to wait hours between matches, etc.
So that's going to be fixed this time in a couple of ways. One is that it's going to be at the Anaheim Hilton, so it'll be, you can sleep.
Yeah, I'm going to go take a nap real quick.
Exactly, if you need to. But on top of that, there will be 2 streams. So it's going to be on twitch.tv/Capcom Fighters and twitch.tv/Capcom Fighters 2 for day 1 on the top 32.
Right.
For finals will then be on twitch.tv/Capcom Fighters. That's the top 8. It's going to be at 2 p.m. Pacific time, Sunday, December 10th. Yes. PlayStation Experience.
Top 8, which we will all go the way down to one person, crown a winner. But we're going to go through... Okay, so what we're going to do here is we're just only going to go through the first round. Pretty much, right? Because,
it gets too speculative.
Yeah,
it's hard. It's hard. And there's the extra sort of wrench thrown in of the last chance qualifier. Of course, the first day of it is going to be last chance qualifier. A lot of top players are going to be trying to qualify for that 30-second spot.
Yeah, in the first intro video, we went through some of the players in there, but, let's just go through some of these names again. We have guys like Chris G, Xiao Hai, F-Champ, K-Brad, DRA, MOV, Gamerby, Brian F, Infiltration, Mono, XSK Samurai, Kaba, PR Barag, Alex Myers, Nemo, JB, LPN, Commander Jesse, SD Panoy, I'm Still the Daddy, and also the Cool Kid is going to be there as well. He just recently made out of the last chance qualifiers at Red Bull Battlegrounds.
There are going to be 156 people playing from at least 14 different countries.
Yeah, and there was
top players from every continent.
There was a dozen Japanese players coming out here too, so this is going to be a pretty hefty tournament here.
That's right, and the brackets for those aren't up, so it's hard to know exactly what's going to happen yet. But we're going to start off the predictions right here. Now, in the first round, of course, we know that Punk, as the number 1 overall points finisher in the Capcom Cup standings, he plays the winner of the last chance qualifier.
Right.
So we got to talk about that winner of the last chance qualifier. James.
Look, he's been playing great all year long, and I just think this would be the most ridiculous first round matchup for Punk, and that's if Nemo won the whole entire thing. Because these guys have a little bit of history, right? So they played each other. He went to NLBC. They played each other at a couple of events during Nemo's vacation, this earlier this year. And Nemo has every bit ability to take this, right?
Sure.
He's one of the most talented players, just top 8 finisher at EVO.
The only reason that he hasn't qualified automatically for Capcom Cup is that he didn't travel all that much.
And so if he takes it, he would go up against Punk. And we'll get to that in a little bit, but yeah.
That's right. Well, that's not going to be my pick. My pick would be somebody who also almost qualified. And that was by getting second place at the Latin American Regional Finals. Kaba! I like Kaba from the Dominican Republic. Yeah, I think he is one of the most talented players in the world. I think he works hard. I think he has a great character in Guile and great fundamentals.
Right.
I think he's a big threat.
And that DR scene, the Dominican Republic scene, has just been on fire. Those guys are super good, and I would love to see Kaba make it out of there.
I'd love to see Nemo make it out of there. I think, hey, there's a lot of the players that are there. I think it would be fantastic additions to Capcom Cup. So
absolutely,
be cool either way.
Oh man!
Now, let's get into the old big picks. Let's start.
Okay. You want to? All right. Okay, we're just gonna go this from top to bottom. Okay, we're gonna go through this all through top to bottom right here. So we're gonna start with that first matchup that we talked about, which is Punk versus the Last Chance qualifier winner.
In your world, Nemo.
So even without knowing who let's say we didn't even predict, right?
Yeah.
I think this is a tough one for Punk.
Okay.
Because the problem is, this is a giant talented pool over here. So whoever makes it out there isn't really a 32nd seed.
There's going to be some really strong players.
Right, it's going to be a really strong player, and he has no ability to practice for what's coming.
Right, everybody else gets to game plan and do research, and he doesn't really.
He doesn't have that ability.
He gets a night, I guess.
Yeah.
Right? That's it.
Right, and that'll probably be enough for him, but it's going to be, it's a tough position for Punk to be in. Having said that, whether it's Nemo, whether it's Kaba, whoever can make it out of this, I do think Punk will prevail. Just because he's kind of the best right now.
I think he's the best. I think he's been the best almost the entire year. And I have Punk as well.
Okay.
Regardless of who it is, almost. Not almost.
Okay.
Literally regardless.
Okay. All right, so both of us have Punk there.
Both of us have Punk.
And if we go to bracket B, scroll down here a little bit, we got Daigo versus Brolinho.
Yeah.
And who do you got?
I have Brolinho.
You have Brolinho.
I do. Look, James, here's the thing about picking brackets, right? You can't pick the number one seed every time.
Right.
I've played March Madness often enough to know that you gotta throw some weird ones in there sometimes. And I don't think this is that weird. Brolinho is somebody who's beaten some of the top players in the world in the past, Infiltration included. He played against Daigo last year in Capcom Cup, and he got 3-0'd, to be fair. Daigo beat him 3-0 last time. But I expect better this time from Brolinho.
Okay.
I'm looking for good things from him.
Well, surprisingly, I picked Daigo. I did pick Daigo just because of the history. Now, last time they played each other was Ryu versus Nakali, so it's very different. But Daigo, it's prep time Daigo. So first round, I think Daigo has a really good chance to be able to take this.
I know I'm out on the limb. All right. So I'm comfortable there.
Okay, yeah. So if we scroll down here, next we have Kazunoko versus Big Bird. I'm not gonna lie, this one was really hard for me to pick. This was probably one of the hardest ones for me to pick. Now, the reason why is that Kazunoko is kind of known to be a crazy player a little bit, likes to hit buttons on wake up, etc., etc.
Okay.
If Big Bird goes with Zeku is so good at set play, he can blow you up for hitting buttons a lot. And Kazunoko might not have the experience against that,
I like this. All right.
But the problem with it is this is Kazunoko at Capcom Cup.
Right.
This is Kazunoko at Capcom. First place, third place, 2 years running.
You got Big Bird.
I couldn't.
You couldn't do it? Come on, man. I'm out here on the Daigo limb. You're not going to do that with Kazunoko over there? Come on. You got it. Look, you can't go with the number one every time.
I know, and that's the worst part is going through my predictions. I was like, I need. Like I said, this is one of the hardest ones for me to pick. And originally, I had Big Bird.
Okay.
I switched it to Kazunoko, but now I'm starting to think I might want to go back to Big Bird again.
Hey, it's your pick, buddy.
Big Bird. I'm doing it. Let's do it. Big Bird. All right.
All right. I think you're crazy. I'm going with Kazunoko.
You jerk! You totally baited me.
I don't think you're crazy,
No,
but I do have Kazunoko here.
Okay,
I just think he's too consistent, too strong. He just played well last big tournament he went to. I don't think you're crazy, James. It's not my pick. All right, let's move on to the next one.
Okay, so
I have a lot of respect for Big Bird. There's no doubt.
Absolutely.
doubt.
Xian versus Mena RD.
This is a matchup that I'm very much looking forward to. It's two of my favorite players to watch.
Yes.
Two players who I have a ton of respect for. I think that I have to go with Xian here because I feel like Xian, when he has a chance to game plan and really prepare for things, I think that he's very, very tough to beat. I love him with the Buki. That character makes all the sense in the world for a character that he should be playing. And I feel like he's going to have a really deep run. So it's more about my belief in Xian than disbelief in Mena RD, who I think is very strong.
It's one of those matchups that I kind of wish wasn't the matchup because I want to see Mena RD go far, and I believe he has every ability to go far. But Xian is like another beast. He's another beast, and I probably have a similar situation. I think he's going to go far in the tournament. Yeah. So I do have to pick Xian in the first round as well.
Okay.
So, all right.
What do we got coming up?
Next
down here on the old...
Haitani versus Sako in matchup E.
This is a match that has happened a billion times across a bunch of different games. Very different games, in fact. But nowadays, well, it's your turn to pick. Why don't you talk?
I'll just finish that thought, right? Nowadays, I mean, obviously you see here Haitani seeded 4th, Sako seeded 29th, right? Yeah. Sako has not been performing as strongly this year. In fact, when you look through his record, it's like always the team. He's like outside of top 8. He hasn't really made a lot of top 8s. Meanwhile, Haitani took his first premier event. He's just been playing super solid. He's one of the most consistent players. Yeah. It's hard for me not to pick Haitani because, like, honestly, I think as much as we hate this phrase, like I do really honestly think that Haitani wants it more. You know what I mean? Kind of thing. You know.
Well, I feel like Haitani fits with the game very, very well.
Yes.
He has been among the best players in the world since before the game came out. Back in the beta, he was already. And he's been, there are two, I would say, two most consistent players in Street Fighter V's lifetime, and I certainly think that he's one of them.
Yeah.
So it's hard for me to ever pick against Haitani, and I can't do it here, so I'm going to go with him.
Okay.
I think he's got a good run in line for himself as well.
All right. Well, in match F, we've got Justin Wong versus Moke. This is going to be a Karen versus Rashid matchup here.
Right.
You can pick first.
Well, all right, that's the way of things. They played not long ago, and Justin beat Moke. Justin, I feel like, has been stepping up his game as the year has gone on. I liked him more and more. I've seen better reactions and better fundamentals and better patience from him, and I'm going to stick with that, at least for this pick. I'm going to go with Justin versus Moke.
Okay. Yeah, I have Justin as well, only because of the Capcom Cup. It was a Canada Cup, I'm sorry, where Justin did beat Moke again.
It wasn't a blowout.
Yeah, it was very close. Yeah. That's the thing. It was a very, very close matchup. However, I just feel like this is Justin's year to not go 0-2. Like, he's gone 0-6 at Capcom Cup.
He's never won a match at Capcom Cup.
I just feel like this is going to be his opportunity right here. And like I said, he has beaten Moke before, so I'm going to go with Justin Wong.
Okay, upcoming 3-0 for Moke. Got it.
Oh, man.
All right, let's move on to the next one then. What do we got?
Itabashi versus Phenom.
This is super interesting to me.
I'll tell you right now, this was probably the second hardest one for me to pick.
Okay.
I could not, besides the Kazunoko Big Bird one.
Yeah.
Like, this one, I was like...
Yep, up in there, huh?
Back and forth all day. So this one's my turn.
You're right.
In the end, so here's the thing, right? Itabashi preys on human weaknesses, right? He preys on the indecisions from people and the second doubts, right? And Phenom just doesn't have that. We talked about that in the previous video where Phenom is just so good at just throwing caution to the wind and not letting you train him and things like that, right? But But that's the thing, is that Itabashi would probably be able to figure that out about Phenom and counter that as well, right? So in this matchup here, I really kind of have to just go with Itazan's experience and the fact that Zangief just has that ability to, once he EX SPDs you once, everything can go downhill right away. But like I said, this one was about as flip a coin for me as possible, because I really do feel like Phenom's game plan could throw Itabashi off a lot.
Yeah.
But maybe mistakenly, I'm going over experience over youth.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay. All right. Itazan, for you.
Yes.
I'm a big Zangief player, long time, and a big fan of Itazan. So I've gone with Phenom, and it's because I think that Phenom matches up against the Zangief player really well.
Yeah.
It's not. It's you're right. It's mentally, that's a huge part of it. I like his character. I like Nakali versus Geef. That's another part of it for me as well. And I think those two things in combination make it so that I'm going to go with Phenom. But I am with you that this is a very tough one to call.
Right.
And to me, this and the Last Chance qualifier versus Punk are the biggest sort of swings in this top half of the bracket.
It'll be the 801 Strider versus Kazunoko of 2 years ago.
Huge impact
right?
in how the rest of the bracket turns out. If Punk loses, obviously that's huge, right? So, but that aside, I think this one has a huge impact because it's not just two players who can have big swing. They can both go very far. It's two very different characters that present very different matchups to the following players.
Right.
So this, I think, is you got to pay attention to this one, but I'm picking Phenom.
I mean, the thing is, I originally started with Phenom, I'll be honest, but when I looked through my brackets, I did not have, like, every time it was Japan versus somebody else, it felt like Japan was losing in my mind. And I was like, that's weird. And so this was one of the ones that I adjusted because I just didn't feel like that was going to happen. Because we talked about it. We feel like Japan is one of the strongest. They are the strongest right now. So anyway, okay. And then the last one of this upper half of the bracket is Problem X versus 801 Strider. Okay. And you get to go.
Oh my gosh, it's my turn. Well, I like both guys a lot. I like Strider's Laura. It's a strong Laura. It's more sort of a footsies Laura. And
stand light kick.
Right, buffering into obviously a big part of it for him. And Problem X, I think, is one of the best players in the world right now, and I think that he plays Bison in a way that's tough to game plan for. Whereas I think Problem X has some Laura players in both the UK and in France who are some of the best Laura players in the world. So I think he knows that matchup really well. I'm going to go with Problem X because I think that he's going to make a deep run.
Yeah, I also went with Problem X, and actually you touched on the exact reason right there, is that Laura kind of originated in Europe. You know, in Season 1, a lot of people didn't think Laura was very strong. It picked up on her as time went on, but Europe was kind of big on Laura for this whole 2 years, right? And so I think Problem X has a lot more Laura practice than 801 Strider is going to have against Bison, because there's really not that many great Bisons around, especially not to Problem X's level. And so
I think he's alone at that level.
Yeah, so I think it's going to be a little bit more difficult for 801 Strider to game plan against it. And add on top of that, I really do think Problem X might be playing the strongest I've ever seen him play. So we talked about it in the last in 2 videos ago. Just I was gushing about him. I think he's just playing super well, and I can't see. I feel like he's going to be able to take out 801 Strider in the first round.
All right. Well, we'll see. We'll see what happens there.
All right. So
that's the top half of things.
Yeah. So
we got to talk about the bottom half of things now.
So let's scroll this up here. There we go.
What do we got?
First one is going to be Tokido versus Ricky Ortiz.
I see.
Yeah, and look. Ricky obviously hasn't been performing as well this year.
Ricky hasn't been traveling that much
this
year.
Exactly. And Tokido won EVO.
He sure did.
And he's just...
other stuff, too.
Yeah, he's been playing amazing this year. Again, look, Tokido went 0-2 last year. Ricky Ortiz got second place last year. On paper, it's just like, Tokido free, right? I mean, I'm going to pick Tokido, but I don't think this is a free pick. I think this is going to be significantly harder than most people expect.
I totally agree with you. I'm also picking Tokido, and I also think that Ricky still has a good chance to take it. Actually.
Yeah, and it's just one of those matchups that Tokido plays so fundamentally intelligent, and that's actually kind of not good when you're going up against Ricky.
I hear you, dude. Yeah, no, there are player matchups involved, and I think this one's okay. They've certainly played each other before in other games, and it has been close. So.
Okay.
Alrighty, well, let's talk about the next one then.
Match here is Gachikun versus Goichi.
Gachikun and Goichi. Oh my gosh, it's my turn. I like...
You get to Goichi.
Ooh, I see what you did. Alright, I got you, Kun.
Let's kill this now.
Yeah, I know.
Done.
I like Gachikun. I think that he's been one of the best players throughout SF5, even though he wasn't traveling very much in the first year. I still think he is. I like his character a lot. I think the matchups are all okay. Even though Goichi has 3 different characters he can present, Chun, Manat, Ibuki, I like Rashid, Fine, and all of those. And I think that Gachikun has, he's gonna have a really good day.
I mean, I'll even show you this right now. I'm just gonna highlight this. And I said, because I'm voting with my heart.
Oh!
I'm going to vote for Goichi on this one.
Okay.
Just because
Manat
I
boys.
want to see Manat do well. I want to see Manat with... Everything in my brain tells me that Gachikun should win.
Okay.
Except, I would like to see Goichi win. The only logical reason I'm not saying that Goichi has no chance in this.
Not at all.
But the one argument that I would have is that when Gachikun played against Big Bird at Red Bull Tower of Pride, it was very clear he did not know the Zeku matchup. You could just tell he didn't really know Zeku very well.
Okay, I see.
Manat is only 2 characters previous to Zeku, right? It was Abigail, and then Manat was there. So maybe there's a chance Gachikun is not familiar enough with Manat, and he might get caught by some surprise, like block a drill, forget that here comes some orbs, kind of thing like that.
Fair enough.
That's the only way I could justify it.
Well, I don't know. It wouldn't be. I think I would not at all be surprised to see Goichi take this. I think he's one of the best players in the world too. I think this is a really tough one to call.
Okay.
I'm going to go with Gachikun.
Okay. I'm just going to do the Manat Boys thing here. Bonchan and Smug in matchup K here.
Bonchan and Smug. Well, that's your turn to talk.
It's my turn to talk. This one, I kind of cheated on this one.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, honestly, if Bonchan does indeed go Karen... If he goes Karen, I think Smug will win. Smug has been playing too much against Punk. Right? And he just has too much experience in that matchup. I actually think it would be in Bonchan's best favor to go with Nash.
Interesting.
Because I think that would throw a bigger wrench to Smug, especially with Bonchan's fundamentals. If Bonchan plays Nash, I actually think he has a stronger chance, and I would almost lean towards picking Bonchan just because he might surprise him. But because of that stipulation, and if he goes with Nash, I still think Smug has a strong chance. Those two combined together, I'm going with Smug on this one.
Bonchan hasn't been seen that much. Right? He's been hiding a little bit. Only 4 events since EVO.
Yeah.
So it's hard for me to know exactly what to expect out of him. But I'm going to go with Smug because I think that Smug not only is one of the best players in the world, but that, like you said, he knows that character matchup really well, Karen. But he also knows Nash really well because if you're talking about Punk still plays Nash. Right? He keeps that character around. He uses him in some matchups.
Right. Yeah.
And I know that those guys play all the time. So I'm gonna stick with Smug in either case.
Okay, cool. So we both got Smug on that one.
Both got Smug on that one.
All right. So next one is another one of those really matchups, which is of course Fudo versus Momochi.
Easily could have been grand finals.
Yeah. Exactly. This one is your turn to pick first.
I see. Well, I went with Fudo.
Okay.
I talked about who I think are the 2 most consistent players in the world earlier. Haitani I mentioned as one, Fudo's the other. I think that I expect him to continue to do that. That man made 22 consecutive top 8s. All right? And although they've played, right? Fudo Momochi have played. And they have gone actually back and forth.
Right.
But even still... I think too highly of Fudo. This is going to be a great matchup, and it is when they played in the past, because they both have such good, grounded footsies and understanding of movements, and at the same time have that little wild side to them now and then. It's very unpredictable. So I wouldn't be surprised to see it go either way, but I'm picking Fudo.
Yeah, I went with Fudo. Again, super hard to pick this one, but actually the last 2 times they did play each other, I believe, which was at E-League and Brooklyn Beatdown. I think Fudo won both of those 3-0. And those are the two most recent ones.
That's true, yeah.
So just based off of that alone, I'm just going to go with Fudo. Because again, this one is just... I mean, with these two guys, knowing who they're going to go up against first round, they're going to practice and they're going to have everything all ready to go.
Yeah.
These two are scientists, like, through and through. So I'm just going to go with the history on this one, the recent history. Because like you said, they've gone back and forth throughout their career.
That's true.
It's just recently.
The only potential screw is that will Momochi stick with Ken? Because he has picked up a couple of other characters.
Right.
And we'll see. If he throws something in there like that, and something I'm not expecting...
Dude, he may even go with a Zeku randomly.
Wouldn't be surprising to me either, to be frank. But for now, I'm going to stick with Fudo.
Okay.
What do we got next?
Next is going to be Yukadon versus Didymakov.
I see.
And this one, is this you? You picked first last time, so this is me. So I think this is an unfortunate matchup for Didymakov. I would have liked to see him maybe go up against somebody else so we could see what he's truly capable of. But Yukadon, like I said, I think he is in such a position. Like I don't even want to call him a dark horse or whatever. He's easily one of the favorites to take this event. And this is going to be Didymakov's first big stage. I mean, obviously he won the Latin qualifiers.
Yeah, he's been playing for a long time.
Right, he's been playing for a long time. But this is a whole nother thing, right? There was one year where one player was like, "I'm just happy I made it to Capcom Cup." And as soon as I heard that, I was like, "Oh, don't.
You lost."
Yeah, exactly. So
complacency, the killer.
It's tough. It's tough to be in the position that Didymakov is in. I expect him to do well, but I just don't think he can make it past Yukadon.
Yeah, I think he's a good player, but I agree. Yeah, I think Yukadon is one of the best in the world. I think the character matchup with Buki Dalsum is pretty tough for Dalsum. I like Yukadon as well.
Okay. Well, let's see. Matchup number 10 here. We've got Oil King versus Snake Eyes.
Yeah, how about this? So Snake Eyes is now playing Akuma as well as Zangief, and we haven't seen him that much in the last few months. He hasn't really been going on to all that many things. So it's hard to know exactly what's going on there. But knowing him, I'm sure he'll be prepared. I think he's going to do really well. I'm picking Oil King because I like the matchups that sort of both in terms of player and character.
Right.
I think that character is tough to deal with, I think, for Snake Eyes. I don't necessarily mean in characters, because I think that Geef does fine. I think that Kuma does all right. It's more like I expect Oil King to pick better spots on screen and make it tough for Snake.
Okay. I picked Oil King as well, and I mean, I actually just have written in my notes tough matchup for Geef. Right? I just think that the Rashid Geef matchup. I mean, that's a weird matchup. That one kind of like you hear back and forth.
You'll hear from Rashid's that Geef blows Rashid up. You'll hear from Geef's that Rashid blows Geef up. So it's
I looked it up, and the last time Oil King played against Itazan, I think he actually beat Itazan. Yeah, so I'm gonna go with Oil King just from that matchup standpoint. So
alrighty.
Also, okay. So, and then in matchup O here, we've got Dogura versus Luffy.
Right.
This is another one of those tough ones that it was a pretty tough one for me to pick, right?
I agree with you.
And again, as I mentioned, one of the things that I kept looking through my list, I was like, why do I have all the Japanese players losing? And this was one of the matchups.
Yeah,
I picked Luffy in this one just because remember, I think it was 2 years ago when we were at the Warfield, right? 2 or 3, I think that was 3 years ago. Remember that was the year where like Ryan Hart and Luffy and all the Valmaster, all the European players did super well. Luffy just does really well on big stages like that, and I just think he's really solid. And again, Dogura, while he's been on the uptick recently, I don't know, like, it's hard for me to go against Luffy. And like I said, Europe has, done pretty well in these kind of situations. So I just feel like Luffy's going to take this one.
I strongly considered that too. And in thinking about it more, I do like Dogura.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with Dogura. It is partly that he's been really stepping things up, and he's been winning some big stuff. Not just that, though. I also think that it's tougher for European players to get Urian practice at that level. It's not a character that exists in that sort of level in Europe. So, I think it's kind of it's a tough draw in that respect for Luffy. But so I'm gonna pick Dogra. I wouldn't at all be surprised if Luffy took that. Right. I could definitely see that.
Yeah, that's why I said this was a tough one to pick.
Sure,
right?
it is.
And like all these tough ones that I picked, for some reason I always had the Japanese person losing, and I was like, this is not right. This is not right. But watch Capcom Cups and Japan lose like every first. Yeah, I know it could happen. Right? It could happen exactly. And speaking of, the last match here is Verloren from Korea versus Mago from Japan. What do you got?
I'm gonna go with Verloren.
Okay.
So it's a hard one for me to pick, but I do like Verloren's movement. So he's a different Kami than Kazunoko is. He doesn't take the same kind of risks, but so if Mago is more accustomed to that kind of Kami, I think it's going to be a different look for him. But I like Verloren for just sort of the movement that he has, and for Mago, there are these times when I feel like Mago is one of the best players in the world.
Yes.
And then there are times when he's definitely not, and it's not as swing heavy as some players are, but it's hard to know which Mago is going to show up, and I guess I'm not expecting the best in the world to show up.
Okay. I mean, this one was an interesting one for me because, I do believe that Karen has a slight matchup over Kami in the matchup.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, Mago has beaten strong Kamis.
Yeah, exactly. So, and so I think on paper all the advantage goes to Mago. But, I mean, again, I know you can't pick the top seed every single time, but Verloren's at 11, Mago's at 22. Mago just hasn't been doing it. Verloren, I mean, he is another one of those players that has made top at least 9th, like in everything that he's been in, including EVO, right? He was just right there. So he's just a player that's been playing very strong. There's just not a lot of Korea representation in this tournament, and I'm so used to having Infiltration go. Well, I mean, obviously he didn't go far last year.
That's true.
But I just feel like it would be weird to have no Korea in Winterside round 2, and so I'm gonna go with Verloren from just because he has been playing so strong, and I believe he has a whole country of players here ready to help him out and everything. So,
all right, man, sounds good.
Yeah. So
well, those are our first round matchups. As we said before, it's kind of tough to pick the second round. It gets really speculative, and
and plus we're all different, and we're gonna have different matchups. Yeah, so it's all crazy like that.
But that's not all we're gonna decide. Let's talk about a few more things.
Okay.
I want to pick some categories here. Here's the categories I want to talk about. I want to know who you think is going to win the whole thing. Who is Capcom Cup 2017 champion?
Okay.
I want to know who's going to be the big stinker. Who will disappoint? Who lays the egg?
Right.
And then who is the dark horse? Who does better than you think other people will expect?
Okay. So what order do you want? Just
do reverse order there.
Oh, reverse order.
Yeah.
Reverse order. Okay, dark horse.
Dark horse first.
Dark horse. I mean, I think you can probably tell who I was going to pick just based off of all the stuff that I've been talking about earlier. My dark horse is Problem X. I really do think that he is a really strong chance to go very far in this. Why is that a smile on your face?
I picked Problem X. We didn't discuss this beforehand. Dang.
Okay.
I actually struggled with not picking him because I'm not sure he is a dark horse, having won 2 big.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
It's really more that I'm not sure that his scene gets the respect that it should. The continent there, I think, doesn't get as much respect as it probably should. So that it's more out of that I went with him. But all right, man, we got the same fella.
Well, see, then we both kind of went at the same time for this one. Then, all right. So then, for the stinker, then I'll go first again.
Who stinks?
And again, this one's a tough one, right? I mean, we call it stinker. That's kind of probably a more negative connotation that we should have. Basically, there's some people that like I'm expecting to go 0-2, perhaps. Or,
you wouldn't be surprised.
They wouldn't be surprised. But unfortunately, the person that I think has the most potential that probably won't do that well this year, I actually have is Momochi.
Okay.
Yeah, because like I said, I feel like he's going to lose the first round against Fudo.
Right.
And then I just feel like in loser's bracket, he has the potential just to kind of flame out at that point in time. And he just hasn't been able to travel as much. You know, he's been doing a lot more of the mentoring stuff, and, you know, he just hasn't had quite the success this year. It's really weird to think that someone like Momochi might not go 0-2 or 1-2 or something like that, but it happens every year. One of these players, this happens to.
Last year, Tokido and Infiltration both went winless.
Right, exactly. And so it wouldn't surprise me if Momochi was that guy this year for someone as strong as him. And that's how you define a stinker, right? Is someone that you know is that good,
right,
who did not do as well.
Right.
So to put him in this
somebody that you would expect high expectations for.
Right. So putting him in this category is not downplaying. This is me saying he is great. He should do well, but unfortunately, that's just how the cards are going to fall. So.
Okay, fair enough. I agree with that representation of it. My pick is Daigo.
Because you had him losing to Rolinho first round.
I did. And then after that, he will play the loser of Punk or the last chance qualifier winner. And I think both of those are going to be really tough draws because I expect the winner of the last chance quals to be super good. Whether it's we pick Kaba and Nemo, could be any half dozen, a dozen people. Whoever it is going to be really, really strong. And Daigo won't be able to plan for that. Right, because he doesn't know who it's going to be. So if it's Punk, I think bad news for him. If it's the last chance qualifier, I also kind of think bad news for him. So again, I think Daigo is. There's no think about it. He's one of the best players ever.
Right.
Still is very, very strong. If the bracket was a different way, I wouldn't be picking him here. Right. It's really just because
it's just the way the brackets kind of fell.
And there you go.
Okay.
That's All right. Well.
All right. Who is winning Capcom Cup? Mr. David Graham.
Look, there's no surprise on my end. At the start of this Capcom Cup season, at final round, we did a little panel before it began, and we made some predictions. And my prediction was that Punk would win Capcom Cup this year. That was back in March. And I can't change it now, because meanwhile, he's been the best in the world.
Nothing has happened that could make you possibly want to change it.
There's no reason to change it, right? So I'm gonna stick with Punk. He didn't, he didn't win everything. He lost Evo. He got second place, but the fact that he lost that, he's the kind of guy who that gets to, and he goes back later, and that he will have planned for whatever it was that cost him to this time overcome. So I think that's my pick, James Punk. What do you got?
What's interesting is I feel like the person who wins one particular matchup I think it's going to be the third round on winners, is going to take it. Okay. And it's going to be Cien and Punk. Oh, I think that is the matchup right there, and I actually have picked Cien right now. Okay. I think Cien is going to win Capcom Cup. Keep in mind, was it like 2 years in a row he got second place or something like that? He got really far.
It certainly got far.
Yeah, he's gotten far many, many times in Street Fighter 4, if I'm not mistaken. And last year...
ninth last year.
Yeah, ninth last year with Fang, right? We talked about. And now he's got Ibuki. He's ridiculous. We looked at his records. He's like top 8 everywhere. He's just like nuts, right? This guy is absolutely nuts. But again, really, it's that matchup. They're on the same side of the bracket, right? I mean, they're literally in the same fourth of a bracket. Right. So they're going to run into each other, I believe, in round 3. Then. Okay. And that match, if they both make it there, which I expect them both to make it up there.
I guess I would too.
I'm just going to watch that match, and whoever wins that, I'm just going to be like, okay. You have given yourself that much better of a chance. You know what I mean? Right. But those two, I expect. I'm copping out. If I had a second pick, it would be Punk because it's that matchup. Okay, fair enough. I think Cien. It seems like the year for Cien for me.
That seems very reasonable to me. I don't think that's off the wall at all, man. That makes sense. Well,
oh man, we get to find out exactly how wrong we are.
Always. Nobody picks a completely correct bracket. That almost never happens.
For sure. But I mean, just in a few days.
Very soon now. That's right.
Coming up.
So December 8th through 10th is Capcom Cup. The first 2 days are at the Anaheim Hilton, right by the PlayStation Experience. That's when the last chance qualifier will be, and it's also when top 32 will be. You can come and watch it in person for free.
Yes, at the Anaheim Hilton.
At the Anaheim Hilton. You can also watch from home at twitch.tv/CapcomFighters and twitch.tv/CapcomFighters2.
Yeah, remember, this is going to be a last chance qualifiers and the top 32 official Capcom Cup. So there's just going to be ridiculous Street Fighter action going
crazy days.
All 3 days.
Yeah.
It's going to be good stuff.
And then the last day, December 10th, Sunday, it starts at 2 p.m., the finals, top 8.
Pacific time.
Pacific time, exactly. And in order to watch it live, you have to go to PlayStation Experience. You got to buy a ticket for PSX. If you can't do that, then please watch it from home at twitch.tv/CapcomFighters.
That's right. But make sure you tune in. Follow those Twitch channels right now, just so you get notification as soon as it starts. You don't want to miss this. Again, this is 9 months culmination here. This is Season 2. And, we've already seen previews of Season 3. They had the trailer at Red Bull Battlegrounds. It looks like that game is going to go in some crazy directions right now. And so I'm kind of excited to see how I feel like this phase of Street Fighter V is going to end. Because this is Season 1 and Season 2, not drastically different from each other. It was more of kind of like a balance change-ish kind of thing. And it seems like in 3, maybe they're going to try to do a little bit more. This, of course, is speculation. Honestly, we don't know. But, honestly, we don't know. But, in that case, I feel like this is one phase of Street Fighter V. So I'm excited to see who's going to be able to take this phase.
Very, very well put.
Yeah. But also, another thing is, if you like the kind of analysis and stuff that we do here, we like to talk about fighting games. We talk about all sorts of fighting games all the time. Every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Pacific time, we do the Tuesday show, where we just basically talk about all of the fighting game stuff that's been happening over the past week. And then, of course, we have our own individual Twitch channels. You are twitch.tv/UltraDavid. I'm twitch.tv/jchensor. We play fighting games on there. We analyze fighting games. Sometimes I play random
other stuff.
Yeah, random other stuff.
And of course, you can watch the Tuesday show at twitch.tv/UltraChenTV.
Oh, yes. And all 3 of those, UltraChenTV, UltraDavid, jchensor, Twitter accounts, same.
There you go. So. All right, everybody. Looking forward to Capcom Cup. I hope you are too. We'll see you there.
Peace out, everybody.